it was interesting when I first started at Leech Lake Tribal College. All the classes were held in the co-op that first semester, and it was nasty and it was cold, and nobody went into the basement because it was really dark down there. And I think we still did bingo every once in a while, so we'd have to clear out the classroom so the bingo could get done. And when the weather was nice, we went out and we held class in the park, literally in the park. And it was the second quarter that we actually got access to the old high school, and we could start doing classes in there. And it was really interesting because there was just this idea about education, about Leech Lake taking control of their education. I'd like to quote Wilma Mankiller for this because she put it the best. She said, "I don't think anyone anywhere can talk about the future of their people or their organizations without talking about education. Whoever controls the education of our children control our future." That played out really, really big right here in Leech Lake. And I don't know if any of you remember it, but in 73, 74, 75, 76, the walkouts that happened at Cass Lake High School because of the way things were run. Remember, shortly after that, a bunch of grandmas, a bunch of manas from out at Mission decided they wanted to change. They wanted an Indian person on the school board. So they got together and they borrowed a van from Leech Lake, and they went around and got money together for gas money and went around picking up people to go and vote. And that year, they elected the first Native person to serve on the Cass Lake School Board. And it was about parents. It was about people believing they could change, that they could make a difference, that they had the right to be self-determining. They had the right to choose how their children should be educated. And out of that grew this amazing piece of legislation called the American Indian Self-Determination and Education Act. And that's what gave us Leech Lake Tribal College. But we didn't have much back then. We had an idea, and we had dreams. I mean, they did. I didn't know about it myself. I just came home from the service. I didn't know what I was going to do next. Leech Lake Tribal College was there. I was working at the school, at the elementary school, because I think that was the only place I had a job at the time. And I worked there and went to the tribal college. And when I graduated, the day that I graduated, I wasn't even going to go because they weren't going to do a ceremony. We didn't have robes or anything like that. And so they called me up and said, "Hey, we actually bought you a cake." So I decided to go my own graduation then. So we went out and we did it at the Bingo Palace. It was really kind of interesting because I got dressed that morning and I came down. I had a collared short sleeve shirt and some pants on, and Nancy Kingbird, my auntie, said, "Go change your shirt. Go get a button shirt." So I went and changed my shirt and I come walking down the stairs. My Uncle Warren looked at me, Warren Tibbetts, and he said, "Take your shirt off. You can't go like that." So I took my shirt off and he goes, "Give it to me." And he took it and he ironed it. That's why I'm wearing a suit today, because he'd appreciate that. Then he took my pants and he ironed my pants, and doggone it, I figured I better get them on quick because I thought he was going to iron my underwear shortly thereafter. We left and went out to the Bingo Palace, and I was the only graduate. And I believe they were really ill-prepared to have me graduate. And the reason being was when I got there, there was about 20 staff and other people involved at the tribal college. Lee Antel did the keynote address. And Lee, thank you for the hour and a half long that you talked to me. I really appreciated it back then. And I'm going to try and keep this short because I know most of you just want to get your diploma and go eat your cake. And so I learned from my own experience. But I got up to the podium, and it was interesting because I got to graduate at both the top and the bottom of my class. I was valedictorian and salutatorian. And I got up, and the podium, they had a table, and they had one that didn't have a full dais, and they had a short little podium, and I put my hands on it. And evidently the podium wasn't quite right, because somebody had taken it out probably about 45 minutes before that and painted it white, and I lifted my hands off and they were full of white paint. But I only had 2 people in that. Sorry. Warren and Nancy. And they were so proud. And I see that same pride in this room, by your family, by your kids, by your relatives, by your loved ones, the same pride that I saw. And it changed me, and it made a difference. And now when I go speak somewhere, I iron my shirt before I go there. But this is a thing that each one of you are the fulfillment of the ideal of education, of educational sovereignty and self-determination, because each of you made choices, many of them very, very hard to graduate. And on your pathway here, you're truly the embodiment of what it means to be Anishinaabe. And what you have accomplished by, you bring not only honor to your people, you bring honor to your family, but most of all, you bring honor to yourself. Now the question is what is next? What do you do next? I had a friend and a traditional healer and a teacher and a friend of mine by the name of Adam Lucier. And when I went up to visit him one day and I said, you know, Adam, I've seen my war, you know, and I'm home now, and I'm a veteran. I said, but what is my obligation to my people as a veteran? And Adam never gave me a straight answer. He always answered with a story or something else, and oftentimes I'd leave more confused than when I got there. And he shocked me. He gave me a straight answer, and he goes, oh, that's easy. He said, your responsibility to your people is to preserve, protect, and defend our culture, our traditions, and our teachings. Then he said, the hard part is figuring out how you do that. So each one of us, because the Creator endowed us with the gift of choice, have to make them choices. Do we choose to go on furthering our education in support of our culture? Do we simply do the simplest things, raise our children and teach them right from wrong and teach them our values? All of them things are valid and valuable. We need all of it. But at the same time, I'd like to encourage you to continue your education, to continue to take back what is ours, what them manas driving around in a borrowed van did, how they changed everything. Truly, I hope that the Creator gives me 20 more years, because I want to come back here and see what we have done with what we have been gifted with, where we're at, what Leech Lake Tribal College is doing. Hopefully, we'll have a doctoral program, or a master program, or an MBA program, or a law program. All of them things are possible because we can dream it, because we seek to do it. And each one of you here is part of that, and part of the growth and the future of what Leech Lake Tribal College will be all about. I don't know if them things are going to happen. I'm not sure of them. But there's one thing I'm sure of. As Anishinaabe people, we are survivors. We have survived disease and theft, war and genocide. We have survived inroads to our land and our language. We've survived it all. So this I do know for certain. We will be here. Thank you very much. There is no video presentation? Oh, I'm sorry, I guess we're doing the video presentation. I guess they didn't invite me up here to give a speech, but to introduce the video of all the alumni. Thank you very much. Muy good.